Bitcoin prices fall to lowest in months after US Fed remarks. Bitcoin tanked after the Fed minutes were released. Here's why. Bitcoin slumps to a 3 month low as cryptocurrencies extend losses. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the current state of Bitcoin, the current state of the bull market, the current state of crypto, financial markets, everything going on. I want to just do a quick little reminder. Let me zoom out on the weekly chart real quick. Right here, this was right around March 2020. This was the beginning of the pandemic, this global catastrophe of sorts that threw global economies into a mess. This is when it happened. Since then, this is what the Bitcoin chart has looked like. So, no matter what's going on with these headlines, this is my opinion, everyone. This isn't financial advice. This is my opinion. Everything when it comes to Bitcoin is going to be okay, in my opinion. And not only that, this could be a setup of great opportunity because we can start mixing in the charts with the headlines and with what is happening in financial markets. And let me just tell you, there could be 100% downside from here. It really, truly could happen. But it's something that we're used to on these charts. You can go to a 6 hour and putting all the recent headlines aside, and what's happening with Feds potentially increasing the rates and everything, these dips, they just happen all of the time. And this is a 6 hour zoomed out. This is May into June. And then we came back up to all-time highs, but markets panicking then, markets freaking out then, engagement low on social media and crypto then, negativity all-time highs then, and it's kind of just it's similar thing here. And as a YouTuber covering crypto for years now, it's on repeat. This whole story of this is a different day, a different headline, but this whole story of crypto's dipping. Here's the reason why, and it puts this panic and fear into the markets, and then all of a sudden it recovers. We never know exactly when things will recover, but that's why I kind of step back a little and I look at the charts and I use that as my roadmap because charts don't have emotion of headlines. These headlines are also it is news. It definitely is news, right? Raising rates is they're looking to increase the cost of credit throughout the economy. What that does is it slows people down a little bit in borrowing money and spending and buying things, right? And the goal of that slowing down is to slow down inflation as well. And at the end of the day, whether or not they do it, it works, right? And the economy's feeling good again, and it's on track of how the Fed wants it. Whether or not it does or doesn't work, they could, if it's not working, they could easily just take it back and lower rates again, and then we're back on track with markets, right? So this is a season to go through, but if we can just buckle down, and this is just me speaking from experience, and just kind of survive it, live with it. It's why we don't make predictions on this YouTube channel. We're always anticipating the downside. We're always anticipating the upside. And I want to talk about the charts just a little bit with Bitcoin in particular because, Bitcoin is Bitcoin when it comes to crypto, and those charts are extremely important if you're watching altcoins or whatever. So, this is the Bitcoin chart. Let's use this as a roadmap throughout the chaos of the headlines, throughout the chaos of what's going on in the markets, traditional markets, whatever. So here we are. We've been talking about this. There's no surprise that Bitcoin has this head and shoulders formation right here, broken the neckline, and I want to discuss that a little bit because it really is piece of the roadmap, right? The non-emotional roadmap, meaning, hey, what if markets do continue to decline? Like, where could this lead us, right? And this could lead us into like the 25 to $30,000 area, and that's a key area mainly because it's a target area out of the head and shoulders. But it also leads us to this red line that you see on the screen is a really important line, at least for me in my technical analysis and everything that I've been tracking with the cycles of Bitcoin, because this is a long term macro Fibonacci. And I really got to zoom out here. This is the last bull market high all the way back here. And we take the macro Fibonacci from that high to the bear market low of 2018. We extend that. And many of you, if you've seen my Bitcoin TA, you're familiar with this line. This is a 1618 higher high area that Bitcoin, after kind of breaking the bull market doors down here, that's the 786 to 618 bull market doors. made its way up to all-time highs, and then boom, down to the 1618. We were using this as a support structure, a support area for Bitcoin to see if we get the continuation of the bull market, which we did, and we went on to new all-time highs. Same thing. We're going to use that line again to see if crypto is crashing a little bit and we're seeing more downside. This is a really key area for me. And to the downside for Bitcoin, that looks like 25 to 30% to the downside, which really is, it would be in the target area, the vicinity of this head and shoulders. So I think there's a lot of uh, that technical analysis value that allows us to, hey, you know what? Let's for just for a minute, let's put the emotion aside. This is one of the worst things that could happen, right? A 30% dip right now. It could trust me, there could be worse. I get it. I realize it. We can go into this multi month, you know, bear market where we're testing more critical areas on the macro chart. But for now, for me, this is the area that I'm watching. And with that being said, again, these headlines, they spook markets. But make no mistake, at least I'm paying attention to this, the daily chart approaching that oversold area. And when we get in these areas of fear and it's oversold on this daily, we go to the weekly. We can check out the weekly RSI just to get an idea of where that's at. This weekly RSI in this bottoming out vicinity, you can see this is kind of the same general area where Bitcoin bottomed out in July. When we get kind of the confluence of these things, a lot of fear, the fear and greed index for Bitcoin, it's very high fear right now. But when we get in this area on these momentum oscillators, Bitcoin can really shock people. There could be a strong bounce out of nowhere. And I think at the end of the day, no matter what's going on with what Fed is doing with interest rates, what financial traditional markets are doing, at the end of the day, there's going to be a lot of buyers of Bitcoin, whether it's right now or in a continued dip, meaning if Bitcoin is hitting these targets to the downside, there are going to be a lot of big institutional buyers down there, right? So on the macro chart, this for me is it's just the longer term story of things. It's getting through these little seasons because these headlines, these stories, they happen all of the time and they're going to continue happening. We can't freak out about them. We really have to just kind of take it in stride and plan our portfolios how we're comfortable and accordingly to what is going on in the markets and the risk that is before us because there is downside risk, everybody. But I really think it's very beneficial just to chill out and make our decisions based on just, you know, the notion of we've been here before. And yeah, things could get even more red. It's been a couple months on Bitcoin of downtrend and it could continue. Yeah, but we've been here before. And for me, I'm longer term, so it's easier for me just to make decisions based on that scale and that scope. If I was short term, I would be kind of like, man, I'd be kind of freaking out. Like if I'm like trying to trade these markets, I just don't have the patience for it. I really don't. Making those quicker decisions on a smaller time frame, I don't have it. I don't have the patience for it. I probably would not be good at it, but on the macro scale, I see I see the story of Bitcoin. I see the volatility, but it's something we can manage when we are long-term thinkers. That's my thought. In terms of the head and shoulder, I did just want to discuss this. Bitcoin has broken through this neckline. But for me, I use the patternsite.com. I use Balkowski, a lot of his data. One of those is head and shoulders data, obviously. But what he mentions in this data is a pullback rate of 68%. A pullback for Bitcoin in this context would be Bitcoin breaking the neckline and just boom, getting just a pullback to the neckline and above, right? And this could truly play into the uncertainty of markets because right now, again, the fear is high. People are just feeling the downward momentum, right? They're on that train. The fear is high. And so if we get this small little pullback, it's gonna play into the indecisiveness and the crazy emotionality of the market right now. But from there, we have to start analyzing this trend line and see if it holds support. And that pullback could end up being really a busted head and shoulders where we initially get that head and shoulders, it breaks the neckline, and then boom, Bitcoin's off to the races, right? So we have to keep an eye on that. But in general, everybody, I don't like seeing markets down. I'm not sitting here saying, "Hey, it's all whatever. I'm just chilling." I don't like seeing markets down at all. Like I don't enjoy it, especially doing videos on this stuff. But at the end of the day, all we can do is zoom out, formulate our own plans, be very, very careful out there because there's always downside risk. We saw what happens, right, with the beginning of the pandemic and the volatility and the downside involved there. But look at the bounce there. Look at the buyers that were there. So whether it's on the macro or even just a zoomed in look at what was happening in this month, there are buyers, likely strong buyers in any type of dip that's going to take place. And that's something we should probably keep in mind. So let me know your thoughts below. Hit the subscribe, hit the like. I appreciate each and every one of you. God bless.